Awkward.
Difficulties.
Yeah, they make the world go around. They make technicians a thing.
That's true.
So, anyhow, we're back. Dapper Devils episode number. Yeah. Sure.
Sure. The microphone. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. With an SH. Shh. But you want your audio louder. Then shh. Yeah. So, dad jokes. We'll go right into. We'll go right into thanking our sponsors. Before I forget, we got Pixel Popcorn Media Group. That's a fucking tongue twister. And I'm surprised I never flubbed on it before. And Unscripted Studios. And that is all.
It's usually because you're not drinking.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But we've been harassed in the past about not doing this podcast with some alcohol. So I would like to I'll officially thank an unofficial sponsor, Old Ellsworth Brewing Company. Their number one beer is Legends. Their slogan is Legends Never Die.
That brew does.
But it did. So I am drinking fresh hop strata. I have to say that out loud to people. And I got to order a beer. I just like to out the number 4, please. So I don't have to say that thing out loud. But anyhow, and it's in the official anniversary glass.
Was that year 4?
This is actually year 3. They even got like with the Trinity of hops, the whole thing. So they do make fine beers. The one I like is just not there. Jordan, do something. Okay, so we're going to go back into Dressrosa part 2, and maybe we'll stay focused today, maybe we won't. I do know that one of the things that I was trying to talk about that I didn't really get to explain a lot is the character Rebecca, and this will take us into the tournament right away. Look how like depressed you are.
I just think her character's kind of dumb.
Tell me why.
Because there's cooler people.
That is a baseless claim.
It 100% is.
Okay.
I just don't think she was that compelling. I thought the characters surrounding her were more compelling, like Kiros or the other members of like the Royal Guard. I thought they were more interesting than she was. I understand that without her they don't exist to an extent, but like.
Okay. So with that being said, the reason that I like her and you don't is because of those reasons. She's intentionally not fighting.
Well, yeah.
She's in the tournament. You find out she's locked in there until she wins 1,000 battles. I believe when Luffy meets her, she has already won 100 battles without striking a single blow. That's badass.
For sure.
That tells me that A, her father taught her well.
Yep.
B, she's incredibly resolved in her not fighting. She doesn't want to shed blood, and
do it just for the sake of doing it.
Right. But she also proves how much of a badass she is by being able to win all the fights without violence, and then that all comes to fruition later in the chapter or the volume because it's Kairos that looks at her and says, "Okay, now it's time to fight." Like finally says,
Yeah, I want to say yes.
It's during
He's still a toy at this time, isn't he?
No, I believe this is during the Diamante fight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so he finally like says,
Now's the time. Yeah.
let's go. Let's go. And so like I thought that Diamante I thought that character development for me, I thought it was excellent.
Okay.
Because it just shows that like A, she's just strong in her convictions to be who she is.
Sure.
She's a fucking princess who's trapped in a dungeon being forced to fight to the death all the time and, chooses a different path.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that about that character. Now, the tournament itself...
Oh, the tournament's awesome.
It's amazing. And you kind of like... So Doflamingo realizes, I know exactly how to manipulate people, and he really does. And you see that, and it's evidentiary everywhere he goes. Like, he's manipulating people to do what he wants
The entire city.
all the time.
Your
And,
island.
yeah, and so, but even people outside the island,
Well, yeah.
like he's manipulated the celestial dragons. He's manipulated the pirates.
I mean,
He's
the Celestial
manipulated.
Dragons, like, that's kind of like because he used to be one, so he's like, I know some shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so he uses the information that he has against the celestial dragons to take these ultimate powerful beings
It kind of reduces them to nothing.
and says, fuck you.
Yeah.
So, like, I know a lot of people don't like Dofi, but I actually appreciate him because,
Better villains. Like him and Crocodile both, I think, are really good villains.
for me, so far, those are my favorite. Because other ones end up being super douchey, and you're like,
Arlong, Gecko Moria.
Enuru, or
yeah.
whatever the hell his name is. Yeah.
I mean,
I know you like that guy, but I feel like you know something later on that is like giving you like
kind of there. It's Eminem.
well,
No, but like, well, because I don't know at what point they show it, but like like the cover stories. So I'm sure you've gotten to it. Like I said, I don't know what chapter it is. If it's there, spoiler, not really a spoiler. He goes to the moon.
yeah, they showed it.
Okay, yeah. So you've already seen that. Like that's basically his story right now. Is he went to the moon, found that race of people, gave them electricity, and they were like, "Oh, cool, word," and that's basically where he's at.
I mean, I think they should redraw him to be like more like Elon Musk,
Wow.
Enuru Musk,
Ooh.
Enel Musk,
Oh. Just the idea of
Errol Musk. But so Dofi knows how to manipulate people, and the way that he is going to draw Luffy away from the rest of his comrades and get him to enter this tournament is by offering the flame fruit as the grand prize for the winner.
Which this is also now the first time that like the devil fruit that we've already seen has come back and resurfaced itself.
Yes, and so they explain that once somebody with the powers of a devil fruit dies, that fruit is released back into the world. And so as soon as Ace died, Dofi went all over looking for it.
Or he bought it.
However he acquired it, it was like his mission to get this. He's like, I must have this. And it was part of his grand plan. And so you realize that, and you're like, oh, cool, that's cool. All right. And Ace is back on the map.
Mm-hmm.
His fruit, he's not.
So he's in the ground.
So, with that being said, Luffy is made aware of this, and he's like, I'm going.
Well, yeah.
And he races off to join
Well, this is
the tournament.
I mean, granted, they're all the same, but like this is a for sure moment where it's like, if anybody wanted to stand in his way, there's nothing they could do to make him be like,
Yeah.
you're right, I should back down. Like,
Yeah.
like, no, I'm taking this fruit.
Yeah, it was like, it must be mine. And so he's like, it's happening. And so the tournament it starts. He's in Group C, if I remember correctly. And they kind of start revealing the competitors to you. So there's a lot of like
Random people.
montage scenes
Yeah.
where they show you a whole bunch of characters. So it's like, oh, here in Group A, and they show you like the highlights of who.
Jinzhou, Bartolomeo, the fucking king from like 2 lands over that like charges up his fist.
Yep.
Rebecca.
Elizabeth O is that guy.
Okay.
Yep.
The giant dude whose name I forget. But yeah, it's a.
Oh, Harajan?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Something, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Cavendish or Cabbage, as Luffy likes to call him.
Yep.
Um,
Jesus Burgess.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's another thing too. Is like the fact that Burgess is there. It's kind of like
Yeah,
Blackbeard's somewhere in the area. He might not be right next door, but he's been by to be like, yo, they got a devil fruit. Go get it.
Yeah, we need this. And so he sends, because isn't Jesus his second in command?
I believe so. It's either him or Van Ogre, but I think it's Jesus.
I think it has to be. Van Ogre's a cunt. But so you see him and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
shit. And then also the king
He's
himself.
disguised as like just like a gladiator.
Well, he comes in as Ricky. That's his name. Yeah. That's his name.
Like, I forgot that's what the name he went with. Of all the names.
Right.
Because it's Riku, right? Like,
So, so this is all going down. And you're like, oh, this is going to be like really cool. And you see, like, they very kind of quickly breeze through Group A, which is Jesus Burgess. He wins. He's the champion in that group. And then they go to Group B, and that's when you realize Bartolomeo.
Amazing. I don't care what you say. Bartolomeo's great.
Look, he's a character that is going to be a lot like Buggy, and it's going to take me a while to probably have him grow on me because he's a giant crybaby bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. He's
And
a super fan.
Yeah, he is like literally.
Everyone reading One Piece who got to meet Luffy. That's what he is. It's just like, oh my god, I'm such a huge fan.
No, he's every 14-year-old girl in front of their boy band crush.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference. His panties are wet. Like, so, but you kind of like.
Wouldn't it be wet if you saw Nami or Robin?
No, my dick would be hard.
Well, okay, yeah, but then it makes your panties wet.
It's a difference. There's a difference. It's a difference. It's a boy band thing versus a wow.
Either way.
Thing. Yeah, no, I know. We can. It's semantics,
Yeah.
but you don't know a lot about this character, and the way that they present him when you're very first like introduced to him, reading him, watching it, however you consume One Piece. He presents as a villain.
Absolutely. Well, because he's such an arrogant prick.
Yeah, and he's like and so you don't like really know how to feel about him.
Right.
And then they go and they do Group B of the tournament, which is his group.
Doesn't he
And
shove everyone off and then piss into the water?
Well, no, and yes. So like he goes to take the piss in the water, and I think people see that he's vulnerable, and then I feel like that's the first time that he shows you his devil fruit power because he puts the barrier up, and then everybody's like, "What the fuck? What happened?" And so you're like, "Okay, fine. This guy is really strong."
Right.
And the way that Oda wrote it is, you have to be thinking, "Shit, Luffy's got to fight that guy." That's gonna be troublesome. And then you get to Luffy's group, and Luffy in the tournament, because he's trying to stay in disguise.
The worst job.
He just
Still has a straw hat, just has a beard, pineapple shirt.
But he puts on a helmet.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he goes, okay, yeah.
He does.
Gladiator helmet.
First, he tries to put on a full suit of armor, and they're like, "It's too heavy because there's regulations in the tournament." Right. So like, everything he tries doesn't work out. So he just puts a helmet on.
Yeah.
And he named himself Lucy for the purposes of the tournament.
I'm Luffy, and it's I'm
See, yeah. And so you're like, okay, cool. And the audience is like watching him fight, and they are amazed at his physical prowess in comparison to the people that are just massively large.
I was going to say, to his credit, if memory serves, he doesn't even use his devil fruit, so he just fights them.
Yes, he
Like,
does
not
not.
necessarily needs the devil fruit, but like he just straight up he was smart enough to remember, if I use rubber stretching, everyone's going to go, it's Luffy.
Yeah, he does not use his devil fruit. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, I think he uses it against Chinjiao near the end, because that's how he punches his head back into a point.
Yeah, and then Chinjiao's like, oh, cool, I'll work with you. We're homies now.
Yeah, so like...
Because it's like, he's like, oh, I hate your grandpa. And he's like, take it up with him. Like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, so you kind of realize, like, this character, Chinjiao, he's massively strong. He had, like, a 500 million berry bounty on his head.
Yeah.
Before Luffy's grandpa, Garp, punched his head.
And made it
And yeah, he made it... Well, Luffy does that.
Did he?
Yeah, so he makes it just kind of round.
Oh, okay.
So, like, Luffy, he gets hit again. First, Luffy punches it into the right direction, and then somebody, during the big battles in the everybody fighting, he gets his head punched to the wrong direction again.
Well, because, it's like a whole thing that it's like he was trying to get treasure, but it was, like, underneath, like, the
ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, I can get through it with my head. And he just, like, headbutts it, and Garp was like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Bump, and just knocked it in.
Yeah, so basically that's the whole feud, is because his treasure is now inaccessible to him, but then he realizes later on that Sai, his grandson, right?
It sounds right.
The guy with the big, what is that weapon called?
Like the pole spear.
Yeah, whatever those are called. But he realizes that he has like that kick that he can do that would break ice.
Yeah.
And so like the feud kind of dies out, and that they become buddies, because Luffy ends up being buddies with everybody in the end. Like, it's just his way. It's the way of the king. And so Luffy wins his group eventually. I feel like because they break the whole the arena.
Into multiple sections.
Yeah, and then I think Chin Jiao just falls in.
Yeah.
And then it's over. It's like, oh, Lucy wins.
Well, and then if I'm not mistaken too, at this time isn't like a lot of other shit kind of happening where it's like the other Straw Hat members are fighting the Don Quixote family, like Zoro's fighting Pika, or is this after the tournament?
This is after. So because the tournament kind of fully happens, and then what's going on during the tournament is they're still looking for the factory.
Mm-hmm. The Smile Factory.
Yep.
Or Sad, whatever it was.
I think it is the Smile. I don't fucking know. I get those confused. They produce Sad in one place, and then Smile is the name of whatever. I'm bad at details like that, but yeah, they're looking for the factory, and then the other group has partitioned off for a different reason that I can't remember. There were three groups though, basically.
Right.
And so they're looking for the factory, and they're doing whatever they're doing while the tournament's going on, and then
Oh no, the Tontatas were looking for the factory too.
yeah,
Either way,
yeah, because the toys are in the factory to be freed.
right? The Tontatas are trying to go free them.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Somebody will correct us. Yeah, right. So the tournament's going on, and then they get to Group D, and Group D is Rebecca's group, and she's not doing badly,
No, but she's also not like.
but she's in trouble.
Yeah.
And so then, all of the sudden, everybody gets knocked out,
Yep.
and she wakes up, and she's the winner of her group. And wasn't it Sabo
I believe so.
that came down and basically like,
Annihilated.
yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
Well, and then that's the other thing too is like after this, Luffy ends up running into him, or Sabo kind of like goes be like, "Hey, what's up, Luffy?" or Lucy. I don't remember exactly what he calls him. Luffy's eyes bug out of his head, and he's just, "Oh my god, I thought you were dead."
yeah. And we talked about this a little bit last time because I was like so excited that he was back. I'm like, fuck yes,
and then
you know.
They swap places. Sabo's like, "Hey, you got somewhere else you should be. Do you care if I take Ace's fruit?" And it's like, I couldn't think of anyone better to have.
Right.
Which I think it's in an SPS at some point. I think someone was like, "Oh, like if Sabo didn't get it, who would have?" And I think it's Frankie was supposed to get the flame fruit if Sabo didn't. Which like
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he already has was it blast breath where he like burns, shoots fire.
Yeah, I just think more interesting because like his character is kind of designed that he doesn't need a devil fruit on purpose.
Like, I know in SBSs before, or I guess later for you, Oda has it basically said if characters were to have a devil fruit, this is what it would be.
Sure.
And like reading some of them, I'm like, I get it, but I don't know. I think they're more interesting without it.
Well, and you need people to save them.
Well, and so it's funny you say that because
Like-
that's Blackbeard's crew. Is just like I think they're the 10 Titanic commanders. Is everyone on his crew has devil fruit? And
Right.
So it's like, well, what if you get what happens if you get sunk or like
Right.
you're in the ocean and someone knocks you overboard? Like no one in your crew can be like, we can save you.
Exactly.
You're fucked.
So by accident or by design, it's good that Sanji doesn't and that
Well,
Frankie
what
doesn't.
fruit he would have had.
Well, which fruit he would have wanted?
Well, no, that's the one he would have gotten.
What?
according to Oda. But yes,
That's the one that
invisibility fruit.
yeah,
that,
the lion guy had.
it's not Occam's. What the fuck's his name from Thriller Bark?
Yeah, I can picture him. The one that had like the hippopotamus or rhinoceros girl chasing him. Yeah. I can picture that guy.
Yeah, but yeah, he had the invisibility fruit, and Sanji's like, it's not fair.
Yeah, he was super jealous because
The definition of it should have been me.
it's the perv fruit.
Zoro's, I think, was Kaido's fruit, but not for him, but for his sword.
I don't actually know what Kaido's fruit is yet.
Well, then you will find out.
However, because I'm in Zoe, well, now I'm out of Zoe and in Full Cake Island, and Kaido has appeared.
True.
So-
Before we get to that, though, we'll circle back to Dressrosa so we don't get too far off topic.
Oh, well, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I just noting that I do know I've seen this character now, and I've been waiting for him. And so Group D, Sabo basically annihilates everybody, and Rebecca wins that
Yeah.
leg of the tournament. And then everybody almost has a riot because they're like, there's no way she beat everybody, and they're getting pissed. And it doesn't really matter at that point because that's when everything starts to converge.
Yeah.
Um,
That's also, this is now when you start meeting characters like Koala, Hatch, or at least like more so, you kind of realize that.
So they don't tell you that they're part of the revolutionaries. Like, I feel like they show you a panel of Koala, and Hatch is in the tournament,
Right.
and he's giving people hell in the tournament, but he gets eliminated. But I had been waiting on Koala again just because I really liked her character, like the way
Koala's cool.
they showed her as a bridge to like dispel the racism between the fishmen and the humans.
Have you seen her? Was that in Dressrosa or is that later?
Well, yeah, she was on the ship with the fishmen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she traveled around with them and
Yeah.
realized they're not savages;
Right.
they're good.
Fish
And then they release her back to her people, like this. They take her all the way home. But yeah, so you see a panel of her, and you're like, okay. But at that point, I didn't know they're the revolutionaries. I didn't know. I'm just like, Koala's cool. I can't win. Cool.
Well, that's the thing too, that Robin knows who they are because she was with them.
Yes, yeah. So that's part of like Robin is kind of an enigma because she's done a lot of different stuff as part of her being a chameleon to survive,
Right.
instincts. And so she's kind of been everywhere.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of stuff. And so that's actually why, like, we're not going to go into Zoe. But to see Robin be, like, surprised by something,
Right.
I was like, ooh, that's cool.
It'll be a little bit, but like you'll see some of the stuff that like she learned when she was with the revolutionaries, and you're like, that's fucking cool.
Okay, cool.
But
So they're fighting. And then, like you said, Sabo and Luffy have that interaction. They don't actually tell you it's Sabo. You just kind of figure like, okay, it's got to be. Well, see, like I said, I need to go back and read the panels. I don't think they show you
I
that.
was gonna say I watched it, so for me, they show a fucking top hat, and I think like the top of the goggles, and I'm like, it's fucking Sabo.
It could only be one.
Exactly.
It could only be one character. And so Sabo takes his place in the tournament, and when the final battle happens, everybody's kind of like, this isn't how he fights.
Right.
Like,
It's a completely different fight style.
yeah. And so,
He's got the bow staff or
Yep.
the pipe.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's got was it like the dragon claw fist or something, or dragon claw.
You-
armament hockey.
Whatever he calls it that he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
And then it becomes the flaming dragon claw, and you're like, that's fucking cool.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's dope, man. He's easily top list for me. Like, and I read those, like, they do the polls on favorite characters. I'm like, why is Sabo always so low?
I feel like just
Just
I don't know where
scarcity.
I don't know where Shanks lies, but I feel like because he's not really in it a whole lot.
Shanks and Ace still place higher.
I
And-
can see
and-
Ace just because he was in it more and he had a very dynamic character, but like
Yeah.
I mean, Sabo's still pretty cool.
No, he's dope, man. And I hope there's more of him going forward. You kind of expect there is. Like, there's something that I already know happened where I'm like, okay, this is going to stir some shit up.
See, I don't know. No.
It's not what I think I know. It happened. I read it, so I know it happened. Like,
You reading ahead?
you're telling me not to talk about Zoe, so I won't.
Oh, okay. We can talk about Zoe.
But so the tournament ends. Sabo wins the flame fruit. He immediately eats it.
Well, because let's be real, if he didn't, somebody was bound to come after him.
Yeah, they were gonna take it from
Wasn't
him.
like Doflamingo planning? He's like, no one's gonna be able to win it. Like he didn't expect anyone to actually win.
Well, yeah, because the fruit itself, the way that you had to win is you had to knock everybody out, and then you also had to get the fruit that was chained to the back of one of those massive sea bowl things. And it's like, well, this is impossible. Right. And Sabo's like, boop, I got the fruit.
Yeah.
Like,
takes his bite.
All right. And so, boom, now he's got his devil fruit, and you go, oh, shit.
Kicking off too. Like, Frankie and Senor Pink have their fight.
Yes.
I don't remember who Baby 5 fights explicitly. I feel like she kind of fights a couple people.
Well, see, I don't like it. That direction's harder for me.
Yeah.
Than picking Frankie fights Senior Pink. Zoro fights Pika.
Which is fantastic.
Well, and see, when you're reading it, I read everything kind of the same way until the author tells you something different, so they make it very known that Pika has
the most ridiculous laugh.
Ridiculous.
Of One Piece.
Well, laugh and voice. Like his like the super high pitched voice.
Oh, well, that's insane. Like, one of these days, we'll play it for you just for you to like listen to different characters. You'll know Brooke's laugh, and you'll know Pika's voice.
Got it. Yeah.
The most ridiculous fucking.
But yeah, so they're kind of all partitioned off into these fights, and then all of the people realize, because all these things kind of happen in progression in a way very quickly. So they liberate all the toys.
Yep.
And so all the toys are free. They turn back into their human selves.
When Usopp knocks out Sugar.
The first time.
Yes.
Yeah, which is hilarious because he just like, he's terrified being Usopp, and then his terrified face terrifies Sugar.
Yeah. I know we talked about this last
Yeah. And so, but, so they're all liberated, and then everybody's memory comes back.
Right. And so everyone remembers everything. And like,
yeah.
Oh.
And so it kind of changes the dynamic. And then all of the people that were defeated in the tournament, because Luffy was Luffy, he's very like, I don't want to say graceful.
Oh, he's the least thing from graceful.
But his
spirit.
More the fact that he doesn't ever like treat anybody like they're less than him.
Oh no, he treats them all as equals.
Right. So like everybody, like to him, he's like, well, I'm going to kick your ass, but we could still be friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And so there's never like malice behind it. It's just like you're kind of a roadblock for me.
I would say there's like malice is when it's like, oh, you're hurting innocent people. I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
Take the shit out of you.
Yeah. So that's for sure true. Anybody he deems as a friend, and then you mess with, now he wants to eliminate you.
Or anyone who feeds him, it's like, oh, who's been oppressing you? Oh, that guy? I'm on it.
Yeah. And so, so that's all going on, and all these fights are happening. The Zoro and Pika fight to me is fairly hilarious.
It's because it's amazingly hilarious.
Because Pika is he the stone fruit or whatever the
gigantic, and he just like travels through the stones and makes giant versions of himself.
Well, yeah, because he can control it. Anything that was made by the hand of a mason, he can bend the will of to make himself larger.
Right.
And so he basically turns into the size of an entire fucking city.
Yeah.
He's like
standing up.
Like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking crazy. And Zoro is like,
he gets hurled as a cannonball towards him.
yes, that is part of it at one point. Once you have the alliance of all these like random people,
People from the tournament that are like, we're gonna help fight back.
Yeah, because they realize, because Doflamingo has everybody captured in his birdcage thing, right, where it's shrinking.
Yeah, now it's starting to shrink at this point,
and it's essentially just going to kill everybody.
Well, it's leveling the whole city like it is.
And so,
I think the city is like 2 square blocks wide.
Yeah, it's very tight.
Right.
It's very tight. Like, they continue to make mention of how long they have left before they're all dead. And so that's going down. The fight with Pika and Zoro, to me, it's just hilarious. But it shows you like Zoro is a tactician.
Yes.
Like, I know throughout the series you think, okay, he's a really good swordsman.
For sure, but he also has a level of tactician to be a fighter.
Right, he's measuring his opponent. He is looking for the weakness, and he can't find it. Yeah, because he's like, I don't know what the hell to do with this guy. And then he realizes that if you get Pika to be just in his body, then he's vulnerable and he has a chance. And
I think it's later in the arc, more so like when they're trying to hold back the birdcage, but he infuses his sword with hockey.
oh yeah,
And it's fucking awesome.
yeah. No, he gathers together a group of people to push the birdcage back, and they're successfully doing it.
Kind of, and then it hits back.
Yes, just because Dofi's powerful, but there are people on opposite ends doing it,
Well, for sure.
and realizing, we got to do something.
Speaking of tacticians, Law. Like,
Oh, for sure.
When they actually like really start going to fight
Yeah.
Doflamingo, that man is insane. Because like, I remember watching it, and I'm sure same with reading it. There's the scene where like Doflamingo, or it might be Treble, I don't quite remember, but one person basically cuts off Law's arm,
Yep.
and he goes down, and you're like, damn, he kind of folded a little quick.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later, it's like, oh, it's actually not Law. He swapped bodies with some random dude because he did a room over the entire island of Dressrosa. Like, it's where he could teleport anywhere.
No, Law lost his arm for sure, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought he.
But he can surgically reattach his own arm, so he didn't give a fuck. The reason that he lost his arm is because isn't that how he was able to take Dofi's heart?
Yeah, you like to get close enough to him.
Yeah, so like he used that as a diversion tactic to.
So either way, he still is a
But
fucking badass.
yeah, he's a G because he had a room above the cage,
Yeah.
and so he's
now-
like, I'm still controlling everything.
Right.
You just don't know it.
Well,
And it's like, oh, I love Law, man.
once all that happens, when it was like, now you can really like let loose. Because I remember like Doflamingo's going to step on him, and Luffy just blocks his foot with his foot. And he's
Yep.
like,
Yep.
let's fight.
Yep.
Hits up, then like they're going for it, and then you'd already seen it, but then you sell of it right there.
Oh, yeah.
But when Luffy busts out Gear 4, there's a bounce man. You're like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
It gets ridiculous immediately because it's, he's flying.
Yeah.
Like, the man is using supersonic vibrations and like ricocheting his limbs, so now he flies, I guess. And you're like, checks out.
Yeah.
sense.
I was good with it.
So was I. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
I'm like, cool, man. He needed to do something crazy to beat him,
Yeah.
which is like the way of Luffy. Is like, you tell me I can't beat you, I'm gonna find a way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find a way.
And like, doesn't he kind of get beaten a little bit? Gets knocked out of Gear 4, chills for like 10 minutes, and he's like, I'm good again. Let's go.
Yeah, so that's a whole thing. They're like kind of carrying him around for 10 minutes until he can reset his hockey.
Running away, basically.
Yeah, his hockey's spent.
Yeah.
And so Law is buying him time. Everybody's buying him time. And who is he with? Because they kind of run into the.
Is it Bartolomeo and Nami?
It might be. I can't remember exactly who's buying him time, but everybody is fighting to buy him time. It's like, and
Because at this point, they all realize what's at stake now.
yeah, they're all gonna die. Yeah, they're literally all gonna die, and so Luffy's the only chance.
Yeah, well, and it's all interesting too, because it's like, I feel like any other admiral would have been like, I'm not going to do that. But like, even Fujitora was like, what can I do to help? Because like, he realized, I'm still a worker for the people. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just hunting pirates. He's like, these people's lives are at stake. I can put this on the back burner. The lives are more important.
Well, and he was also very like deliberate in calculating who was at fault.
Yes.
And who is the actual villain in this scenario. And so like he
Took full blame.
yes, and but he did realize
It's Doflamingo.
it's not Luffy.
Right.
It's not the Straw Hats.
Right. He realized-
It's the Don Quixote family.
I think, again, like I said, any other admiral would have been like, nah. He's the one that's like, he realizes that he's like, well, yeah, there are good pirates, there's bad pirates. They fall into the good pirates. It's like, they're not really doing anything maliciously, but they might steal some things like all of what's-his-face's clothes from Fishman Island.
Right.
Like, they'll do shit like that, but it's like, they don't hurt anyone.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be blind to see the truth.
Exactly. And when that's where he's like, you're the one person that's made me wish I could see for the first time in like ages.
Yeah, he wanted to see Luffy's face.
Because there was hope for the world.
Yeah, and so that was actually a really cool moment because it's like, okay, there's a kind of a changing of the guard in the Navy itself. Like they're bringing on other admirals.
Right.
We haven't met some of them yet. I don't know how they're all going to be in comparison. But Fuji, for me, I was like,
Oh, he's such a G.
This dude's badass.
And again, like, because I think it's after Saba Odi, Luffy vows he's like, I'm never gonna run from an admiral again.
Right.
And then obviously they run into Fujitora, and he's like, I'll fight you if I have to. And Fujitora's like, oh damn, it's crazy. I'm blind. I didn't see you guys walk away.
Right. Like, yeah. So that. But the fight with Doflamingo is just, it's epic.
It's fucking cool.
You know, it's epic.
Like, I would be other anime. You know, you're like, oh, if there's one thing it does right, it's the fights. One Piece does everything right, but the fights are so fucking cool.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
Like, there are some fun ones in Whole Cake Island. Like,
I'm just getting there.
Yeah, well,
So, like, all I know is that Charlotte Pudding has already saved them.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's like one of the first things.
House.
Yeah. Because they ate the entire house.
Yeah. I know we had talked about it briefly last time, but we can talk about Zoe because it's short.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But but so all these fights happen, and it kind of reestablishes like the characterization, and just briefly, the Frankie and Pink fight to me.
Oh, it's amazing. It's a bro off. That's all their fight is.
Yeah, like both of them know each other's weaknesses.
Yeah.
And they refuse to back down, but they also refuse to defend themselves because it's like a macho man battle.
That's exactly what it is.
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and so they're like just kind of going back and forth, and then people in the background are like, "Oh, he's so hard boiled."
Yeah. Like all the women, like, oh my God, Senior Pink! Like they're all like in love with him. Which also too, Frankie's wearing the suit and shirt, or the suit jacket and the shirt, still with his massive cannon arms, and then no pants.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous.
This is Frankie.
Well, yeah.
It's like Frankie doesn't put pants on.
No.
He just doesn't do it.
But,
it's not a thing for him.
No, like
But that fight cracked me up. And then at some point, Pink is like, wow, he's so hard boiled.
Yeah. Like even they're like they both realize like, damn, this guy's tough. Like, fuck.
And by the end of it, like Frankie wins the fight. And then they're like, hey man, you know, let's have beers sometime and just like talk about life and stuff. And
exactly.
it's just...
No, but like I also because like it to me that also goes to show that it's not just Luffy that does that. Like they're all good people. Where it's like, hey man, like I know you were doing some things, but I can see like your character as a person. That's not really who you are. You're kind of just like roped into this, and you can't get out of this life of crime, even if you've tried. And he's like, I respect you.
Well, because Pink's backstory is kind of sad.
It's extremely sad.
You know, because wasn't he wanting to be a dad and then...
Yeah, he finds Russian.
Yeah.
Or Russia, whatever her name is. I think it's Russian. But falls in love with her.
Yeah.
They have the child. Child dies, unfortunately. And then that's kind of when she's like, what do you actually do for work? And he's like, oh, I'm a banker. And she's like, I called the bank. They said you've never worked there.
Right.
Because she hated pirates, so he felt the need to lie.
Yeah. And so his one true love abandons him.
Right.
And so all of that is too much to handle.
Well, and then it gets worse, though, because, like, she abandons him, has whatever accident. She's in the hospital for the rest of her days, basically catatonic. And the only thing that, like, because he's like, I would do anything to see her smile again. And that's why he started wearing, like, the baby outfit.
That's right, the bonnet.
Yeah, and because that's what made her smile. And he's like, I'm going to keep doing this. And then, like, that wore off, he put another piece of baby clothing on.
Yeah, and that's how he ended up in the diaper.
Yeah, and I was like, this guy's so fucking weird. Like, why is he wearing this stuff? And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
right.
Makes my wife happy. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's so upsetting.
Yeah, and then she dies.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, shit.
Well, at that point, it's like, well, now he's just a lost soul.
Yeah, well, he already was a pirate. Now he's a pirate with a weird tendency.
Well, for sure. Because, again, it's like, he's not going to change his outfit because he's like, well, it made her happy and it makes me think of her.
Yeah, that's like a legacy play. Yeah. You know, it's like that's the only way to remember her.
Exactly.
And
like, damn, like, I'm trying to think of one backstory in One Piece that's not, like, heartbreaking.
They're all.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess Luffy. Just because his dad is alive.
I made the joke too, but it's like Sabo is the son that Dragon always wanted.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, so there's that. But yeah, so that fight to me was really cool.
Yeah.
And then the whole arc just kind of it's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of things going on that you don't know how much of it will play into the future. But I always kind of believe if it's building to a great climax, everybody will be there in the end.
Yeah.
Like to some degree, the elements of allies that have existed are going to come together for Luffy
Well, and that's,
in the end.
I know, like, obviously we're not going to talk a whole lot about it just because it's very short, but, like, to me, that is where I would say that the Straw Hat fleet would make sense, where it's like, he has these allies, he might not want to call on them, but he is able to.
Yeah, so, like, because that goes down with Bartolomeo, and they're trying to share...
Isn't it? Like, that's his, like, way of being a Straw Hat.
Well, yeah, because he's like, we're at your beck and call, but all of them do it.
Yeah.
Like, every respective entity kind of does it, and he's like, I'm not interested, and this fucking cramp, this being fat sucks. Jesus.
But yeah, because I think the way he looks at that is like, well, I'm not free at this point. Now I'm like a leader, and I'm expected to do certain things.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be in charge of everybody. He's like, I don't want to be in charge of everybody. I just want to be king of the pirates.
Yeah.
And everybody looks at him like,
bitch, it's the same thing.
Like, are you crazy? You can't. So they kind of, that's, to me, Doflamingo's defeated.
Yes.
And then they have their situation where they're trying to leave, and I feel like they're throwing a couple parties or something, and then, but isn't Luffy like down for the count for a while?
I think after the Doflamingo fight, just because he's so spent after doing Gear 4.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
But anyway, so they Fuji has the debris of the whole city over the top of them, so they can't escape, and then that's how he, like, all of the new allies are like, well, we're gonna go to C2, and Fuji's like, well, I can't kill all these people, like, and so I guess I gotta let him go.
Well, and another big thing that he does, though, is he straight up apologizes on, like, national TV that he's like,
yes,
world government failed you. Sorry.
Yeah, as an admiral, he basically he bows down, head to the ground, to apologize for the atrocities that have occurred. And then the king is reinstated. What's his name? Riku. He's Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. And then he appoints Kiros as his right hand again, even though he has no left leg.
Yeah. So, which is interesting because
He doesn't even get a prosthetic. He just hops around.
Yeah, no, he's definitely just straight hopping. But Rebecca kind of banishes herself to his shack.
Yeah.
And she's out in the fray, and Luffy's like, this is not okay with me. Like, you need to be with your dad.
Right.
And so he kind of brings them back together, which is one of the last things that he does. He just to make sure that, he finished his job.
It's not like a huge talking point, but also didn't they found Kanjuro in Dressrosa, right?
The other samurai?
Yeah, the red hair one. Oh,
well, so yeah, the one that has the ridiculous hair, the one that draws pictures.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you see him because I think they need him. I think that's the motherfucker that gets Luffy out of the pit he falls into because he draws the shitty ladder. Yeah. Yeah. So you meet that character and you're like, dude, this guy's fucking ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, Kanjuro.
it's ridiculous.
Something. And then obviously they leave Dressrosa.
But yeah. So did we talk about Corazon at all?
Yeah. Oh, we were talking.
We
about
did.
how badass he is.
Yeah, and all that with him and Law.
Yeah. Again, super sad backstory that he basically did everything. He's the polar opposite of Doflamingo, where Doflamingo's born evil, Corazon's born good.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, then Zo happens, which is just a wandering elephant in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like a massive wandering elephant that has an entire city on its back for like 1,000 years. That's what a millennium is, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So the century's 100, yeah, millennium. That sounds right.
And so you get there, and it's the minks.
Yep.
And the
Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Carrot, Smash, Wanda.
Smash. Nice. All of them.
But yeah, it's like all the mink. or all the minks, which are just animal people,
Right.
similar to Chopper but without a devil fruit.
Yeah, and they're fully grown too. Like they're people sized.
Yeah.
Where Chopper like got the midget fruit. Like he's like a foot tall. He's
Like he's a child size.
okay.
Children are taller than Chopper for sure.
Yeah,
But
but he's like enamored with Wanda, right? Isn't that the one that is
long-nosed dog.
oh no. There's a reindeer character
Oh yeah.
that he's like
she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
yeah, he's in
Yeah.
love.
But yeah, I mean, they get there. Sanji gets the letter.
Well, so when they get there, Sanji's gone.
Was he already gone?
He's already gone.
Okay.
They get there.
Is it right before they go there that he leaves?
Yeah, but they reveal that as you're reading Zoe. So
Gotcha.
like they get there and it's kind of a tumultuous start because they meet Wanda and Carrot right away and they're basically fighting with them.
Yeah.
And
They don't know.
then they realize who they are and they're like, "Whoa, wait.
Yeah.
Let's take you over here. You need to go over here and talk to these people over here." And then he's reunited with the crew members that are left behind.
Right. Well, because then these pirates arrive. Jack.
Oh, they're called the East Pirate? Oh, Beast.
Yeah. But so, like, they arrive. Do they destroy the town or do they just fuck shit up?
So see, that's the thing. Like, Straw Hats get there after everything's happened.
Okay.
The
Flashbacks like they show.
yeah, they do flashbacks. So like Jack and his crew came through looking for whatever they were looking for.
Right.
And they wrecked up the place, and then they leave, and then the Sanji thing is completely different.
Gotcha.
Because he's being called to marry Charlotte Pudding in Big Mom's crew, and doesn't get a fucking choice. And so that's when Capone Bene basically tries to kill Peekums.
Is it Bene or like Beiji?
Well, it's I don't know.
BGE, I think.
I don't.
Whatever it is.
But he tries to kill Peekums, and then he traps Sanji in his body,
Yes, which is such a dumb devil fruit.
and then takes him.
Yeah.
And so that happens, and you're like, oh shit. And then Luffy finds all this out, and he's like, well, we're going to rescue him. We're going to get him. And so they form a crew to go get him, and then everybody else is going to go a different direction.
So, I know they split the crew.
Yeah.
It's what? Luffy, Nami, Pedro, Carrot,
Brooke.
Brooke, I think Chopper.
Yes, because Chopper goes because Peekums goes too.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
Peekums.
they all go to Whole Cake. The remaining crew go to Wano.
Yeah,
But because I know when they're on Zoe, they go find Rizo.
correct. Which is who Jack was looking for.
Correct. And
You don't know that,
right.
but he's hidden up in the whale
Yeah,
forest
yeah.
tree. Yeah, he's hidden in there.
Yeah, they all protected him, and they're like, "Oh, like I don't know who you're talking about."
Right, and so like, which is very cool because it just goes. It lays into how well Oda writes things because they arrive, and they're like samurais forbidden here. Like they're hated here. We no.
For you to read further because you're going to get even more like information, just obviously with everything.
Yeah,
But like there are certain things you're going to be like, "Oh, that makes that even cooler."
which is how I felt once Kinemon and
Momonosuke.
that guy, when they actually finally, it's hilarious. First, they're going up the leg of the dragon or the elephant on this.
Fucking dragon.
Yeah, they're going up. They're going.
So stupid looking.
It's a terrible dragon.
But Robin loves it. She's like, it's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah,
Like,
and so then they get like knocked off
Yeah.
by basically the elephant giving itself a bath.
yeah.
Which it does twice a day. It's like they're used to it, but if you're not, they got flooded out. So then he draws a cat
Yeah.
to go up, and they come up later, and they finally get there. And at this point, the Straw Hats have all realized they hate samurai. And they're like, "Oh my God, they can't show up here. This is going to be catastrophic." And you know, you learn there's weird stuff going on because Cat Viper and Dogstorm fucking hate each other,
Yep.
although they used to be best friends.
Correct.
And then you realize they actually were part of Gold Roger's crew in the past.
Was it that they were or they just sailed with him?
Same difference to me, really. Like, because they sailed with him for long enough
It's
to, like,
semantics, but
yeah, I don't know that he necessarily said, you are part of my crew, but he was.
I know we had talked about it. One of my favorite scenes, at least for Zoe, is when they meet Raizo and they're like, "Oh, he's a ninja," and they're all just making jokes where like Law's like, "Can you do the shadow clone jutsu?" And he's like, "That doesn't exist." He's like, "Oh, you know, can you like run around with a scroll in your mouth?" And it's like,
And
no.
say, ning, ning.
Yeah, neen neen. It's like ninjas don't say neen neen. It's like, yeah.
And so that happens. Like they're
dumb.
all coming with the stereotypes, and then Raizo is like, "I'm gonna give you what you want." And he goes off on Ninja Land. He just does everything that he said we don't do that. He does it all, and you're like, "All right."
Yeah, you're like, fucking liar.
Yeah, his character's asinine.
He looks he's like 90% head. He's like MODOK.
Yeah, and then he's got those like the hair,
Heads or what, he's got Coolio hair.
whatever that is going on with
It's
him.
hair,
Yeah.
it's Coolio hair is what I
But yeah, he's definitely. What was that movie called? Desperate Measures or whatever. The one with Michelle Pfeiffer and Coolio's song. Dangerous Minds.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Dangerous Minds. It's actually a pretty good movie. Anyway, off topic, but yeah. So they meet him, and they do that whole thing.
They split up.
They split up.
Well, that's where like the iconic, you know, obviously now it's a little different because Wano's now ended, but a lot of people when like reading or watching was like, oh, see you in Wano, because that's, you know, Luffy says he's like, we'll see you guys in Wano.
Right.
But
Actually, and this is something to me, this is an important moment. I'm sure you'll feel the same. But what the fuck is the elephant's name?
Zunisha.
Okay. So,
I was gonna say.
yeah. So, two people there can hear the voice and the will of Zunisha. Momonosuke
Hey, look at you. Proud of you.
and Luffy. And Momonosuke, like he hears it to the point of like he's getting a migraine from it. It's like so strong, and Luffy's like, oh, what the fuck, and so like they kind of have this moment where Jack comes back, and Jack is like, if we bring the fucking elephant down, this will win.
Doesn't Zunisha just like fucking trunk whip him?
Yeah. So basically, what's happening is.
Fucking dumb.
Zunisha's talking to both of them.
Right.
And he's like, just tell me
What to do?
to attack.
Yeah, tell me I can.
Tell me it's okay, and I will do it. And both of them are like, who is that? Like, what the fuck is this? And I think somehow they realize, oh my God, Zunisha is like talking to us. And they kind of have a little tete-a-tete where it's like, well, you talk to him. Well, you talk to him. And
Luffy basically just straight up says, he's like, no, you're supposed to be like a ruler, you fucking do it.
well, yeah, and he says he'll listen to you better.
Right.
Like, and so Momonosuke tells him, save us, you know.
Yeah.
And then he does. He just basically fucking whips him with his trunk
And he goes alive.
and annihilates Jack's fleet.
Yep.
Just annihilates him.
And that's the thing too, because it's like, you know, they've talked about it in the past where it's like, oh, certain characters can hear different animals, like, you know, and granted, it doesn't necessarily fit anywhere into like the actual story, but like in the anime, there's a straight up episode. It's just all filler, but this little girl speaks to a dragon. Luffy can hear it too because they had devil fruits.
Yeah.
I remember like asking Derek, I'm like, is it just devil fruit users that can do it? And it was like, oh, well, you know, certain characters didn't eat devil fruits, they could still hear it. So it's like, it's potentially if you've got Conqueror's Haki.
I think it like, in the end, I feel like everything would be boiling down to the will of the D.
Right.
You know, like.
Well, Momonosuke's not a D, as far as anyone knows, short of something happening in the future.
True, but he has king's blood.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say he's got.
So, like
the word of the king is technically also Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, so.
Back and forth,
But yeah, I feel like there's like a whole thing there, and like Luffy, the reason he could probably hear it just as well as Momonosuke, but his mind is so far off on I'm just going to be king of the pirates. He's like, I don't like have time to
he doesn't-
tap into
dude,
all of
he
this.
doesn't even listen to the plans that he makes, let alone someone else.
It's true.
So
But if somebody makes a plan, it's like the very fastest way to get Luffy to do something different.
exactly.
Like if you want him to do something different,
The
just
definition of don't touch that.
yeah, it's Frankie and the button.
Oh my god, that might be one of my favorite moments in all of One Piece because of how utterly stupid it is. It's, don't touch. Oh, pirate flag. Touch. Blows up the whole thing.
You're like, oh
Loses his
fuck.
face. Like that might be the funniest moment in my opinion for One Piece. Like
It's
it's got a lot of good moments and that are like hilarious.
Yeah.
That one specifically.
it's
is
fucking
hilarious.
it's definitely hilarious. I remember cracking up and I was like, I had to put it down and I stopped and shaking my head, Frankie, you fucking idiot. Like
That's all of them though.
well, yeah, they're all just total boobs.
Yeah.
And you're like, but that's why it works.
Yeah.
You know,
Stupid.
and Robin's the only one. Like to me, she's
Robin is
the
only
she's
one
the
that actually has common sense.
Nami too, but Nami is so like
Blinded by greed.
yes.
Yeah.
Whereas Robin's motivation is wisdom.
Yeah.
And so like
She wants to better herself and learn.
but inherently you realize wisdom doesn't come at your pace. It comes how it will go. And so I think she knows there's really nothing I could do to manipulate it. So why would I like
Yeah, why fight it?
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing when she joined them after Alabasta. She's like, I'm on your crew now.
Oh, so we talked about Zoe. So Robin being surprised because it's the first time she ever saw a red poneglyph.
Yeah, those are very important.
And she was surprised by that. And so like I was like, oh, that's cool because, you know, to me she's the smartest character in all of One Piece.
No, those are very important. Did they explain why yet?
Isn't it a marker? There's 4 of them total.
There's 4 total.
I know Big Mom has one, Kaido has one, the one is there, and the other one is lost.
Correct.
Yeah. And I imagine it's somewhere Gold Roger hid it. That is my that's my theory.
Okay.
No one knows yet.
No one knows where the 4th one is yet.
Gold Roger put it somewhere. That is I'm telling you, that's my theory because he had been everywhere else.
Right.
He's the only one that made it, right?
Correct.
So it has to be him that hit it somewhere.
I have a slightly different theory. I cannot say why until
I read Wano.
it's like right after. I think, yeah, like right at the end of Wano, my theory. Which I saw something the other day. Apparently Gold Roger carried around a giant fucking egg on his ship. Like, if you look at like the manga panels,
Yeah.
there's such a giant egg that just sits on the deck of his ship. And people are starting to wonder, like, what the fuck is it? Like,
I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
well, some people thought they're like, oh, maybe it was like before she was born, it was Shirahoshi, but like, no idea. But yeah, and some people were like, what if it was just Gold Roger got a giant egg and was like, watch me sail around the world without cracking it, just to say I could,
Yeah,
which also feels like something Gold Roger can do.
true. But he's also kind of a mad genius.
Absolutely.
And so you think if he's got that egg, wow, did they tell you where he got it from?
No one knows what it is. They're just like, it's a giant egg.
When does this thing show up?
Anytime like you see, what the fuck's his boat called?
Oh, god damn it. That sounds right.
Yeah, anytime like the Oral Jackson's on paper or screen, there's a giant fucking egg on it. I don't know how I never noticed.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. That could just not fucking matter. That could just be like, yeah, he's like, I want to have an egg on here.
Damn it. Well, I'll have to look closer but
If
stuff
you
like
keep reading, you'll find more with Oral Jackson.
stuff like that kind of it makes me like I get my curiosity is on overload. You know, it's like what the fuck is that?
But the worst part is
Who-
you can't even get answers because there are no answers.
Yet.
Yet.
But you also have to consider that anytime you would be seeing his ship, it's context in the past.
For sure.
So that egg could have hatched and that character could exist and we already know them. We just don't know who it is.
Very true.
And so, you know, I mean, Shirahoshi's not a bad theory, although that particular egg would have been hatched in water.
Yeah.
And probably incubated in water. So I would,
Exactly.
I would,
So
I would,
probably doesn't really make sense to do.
yeah, I would give that one like a.
I mean, I don't think giants are born via eggs.
Oh, which giants?
Like Hodium, or was it Hoagie and Brody? I
Oh,
think they're just giants that are just born like us.
yeah. I feel like that's a very mammal type birth. Like, see,
Find out soon.
yeah,
But
that's interesting. I haven't noticed that yet, but damn it.
like I said, just keep reading because they'll show more stuff with the Oro Jackson. It's not even like, oh, like it's right in your face. It's because I think it's always like it's really small, and you're like, well, there it is.
Yeah.
There's the giant egg on the small ship.
Okay.
But
Yeah, so my theory, because I'm behind, is that Gold Roger had hid the fourth one somewhere with someone that he ultimately trusted.
right.
I also would not be surprised to learn that he hid the one on Zoe.
Oh, I guarantee he put it on Zoe.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised to learn that because it was so well hidden.
Well, 'cause
It
Zoe's
was like,
a moving island.
yes.
It's never going to be in the same spot. I have the tiniest shred of a theory, but I don't want to say because, again, future stuff that you'll get to. But, like, it's weird. I don't know quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really vague. I don't even know what the theory is around the Poneglyph.
Yeah, it would be around a character and a particular power that they have. When you reach that point, we'll talk about it. But it's gonna be extremely vague. Like, I'll call Derek after this and be like, "What do you think about this?" And he's gonna go, "That's stupid." And I'm gonna go, "You're right. It's dumb."
But sometimes that is the truth to One Piece. Is the dumbest thing possible is the right answer.
I have a note in my phone. Let me see. When did I write it?
Oh, we're at an hour.
I'll wrap it up. On June 17th, 2022, I wrote a theory about, like, oh, look, what if this happened? Part of it was true. The rest of it, not at all.
Which is,
But, hey, I got something.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Exactly.
At any rate, One Piece is still crushing. I mean, not that anybody would be surprised that's been following it and working with One Piece through the years, because where I'm at, I'm still in the SBSs. Where I'm at right now is it's
I was
2016.
gonna say, at least 6 years ago.
He has just released the Gold movie.
Okay.
Because he's pumping it up in the SBSs. He's like, check out the One Piece Gold movie, and so
We can watch, I think, Strong World Z and Gold now.
okay, but yeah, I'm 7 years behind
Yeah.
still. Like, it's ridiculous to me to think about it that I'm
Which is
like
funny, 'cause
chasing
you'll be
down
all
the
around.
decades.
2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it just depends. Like this past week has been rough, but
Yeah.
but anyway, so that is Dressrosa Part 2. I know we still left some stuff out. That arc is just so rich.
So much.
It's so rich with things happening, and there's way too many characters to talk about.
It's
Like,
like 60.
because like there are characters that I'm like, oh man, if that guy comes back later, it would be cool. Like, I liked the one guy that had the weird shoulders, the boxer guy. He like had the very tall, pointy shoulders, and he punched the shit out of people. He used to be an MMA fighter. No, not Elizabeth though. I'll show you the character later.
Oh, wait, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, legitimate, like, pointy shoulders.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he could like do
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
used to be an MMA champion.
Looking like, he doesn't, but, Little Mac from Punch Out. He doesn't really.
But yeah, there were so many characters in that arc where it's like, I don't know who's going to come back. You know that some of them are going to come back because a lot of kings showed up, and so they mention the Reverie.
Yep.
They show you Shirahoshi
Yep.
talking about going to the Reverie, and that's a whole debate. Like, should I go? Should I not go?
Right.
And the king is like, well, if you don't go, then it like shows that we don't trust the humans, and it's a whole thing, and you don't know.
Still a whole thing.
And then they bring Vivi back in. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, I thought I loved this woman. So they bring her back into the fold, and you kind of start seeing all that go down. I'm like, ooh, like, this is going to get juicy. Because you know there's going to be a massively big fight at the Reverie. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way there's not gonna be.
Yeah.
And so I can't
you're
wait.
gonna so
Like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like it's a good point for us to wrap
Yep.
for today. This is where we're at. This is where I'm at. You're way ahead. And I'm going to keep catching up until I'm caught up. And then I'm going to start watching the animation, which I like. At this point, I know the characters well enough that I actually don't care what their voices sound like. And the reason that I did not read the anime or watch the anime at first is because I'm new
I think you tried it.
to it.
But no.
Well, I tried the first episode after I had read about 30 volumes.
Okay.
And then I went, I'm not ready yet. Like, I'm not ready yet because,
You wanted to do it to where like you weren't watching in tandem, but then
well, yeah, I didn't want to get far ahead enough and then be lazy.
yeah.
Because I prefer to read. It just challenges my brain. So,
Then you get certain things that you might not get in the anime. Like I know for one of them, it's when Law first arrives when he flips off Kid.
yeah.
He doesn't do that at all.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
Well, that's cool.
Because technically, it is still a kids show.
Yeah, I get that.
Especially what obviously being Americanized and translated and whatnot. Book is different versus a kid might watch this and they see this. It's like you're gonna have to then explain. Oh, cool.
Well, it's also different too when you read a comic book or a manga because, like, I can lament
Well, yeah.
on those panels very easily. Whereas when the moment passes, when you're watching it, you got to rewind it and watch it again, and then you got to rewind it
Oh,
and
I've
watch
done
it
that
again,
many times.
and that's annoying.
Yeah.
And I would rather just stare at the panels and go, okay, this is what I think is happening here. Like, this is what I think is being told to me
What I usually do
now.
with, like reading a comic or a manga is like I'll read the page, and then I'll just study all of the panels.
Yeah, you reflect on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I move on.
Yeah, same. That's how I do it too. And so I think that's why, like, I see way more reading
For sure.
because I'm like, I want to understand the intention of the progression.
And also, too,
And-
I mean, from manga to anime, producers and studios might decide we're just going to cut this out because it's not as important. Whereas, like in the book, again, you're going to see something and be like, "That's there."
Right.
Like, and again, like one of the theories with Blackbeard, the whole different teeth and whatnot,
Oh, when he's possibly using a different devil fruit?
or he's just a different person. But so in the manga, there's different versions of, or like different drawings of Blackbeard, and he's got different missing teeth. In the anime, it might be like you like as a viewer, you're kind of like, oh, they just kind of got lazy and just chose random teeth. But
Sure.
Like, no, Oda's not going to make that mistake of like, if I drew it this way, it's going to be this way.
Yeah, and see, I haven't had enough exposure to Blackbeard watching him at all with his powers to know anything.
Too, but
Yeah. And so what like, yeah, anyway.
we'll wrap it up.
Yep, this is it. Like, subscribe, comment. Is there a bell? Ring it.
17 times.
Ring it. Donna Summer the fuck out of it. Peace.